Hey there, Hofstra fans. Welcome to this week's edition of the W.B. Mason Coaches Report, right here on GoHofstra.com. I'm Mike Sullivan, joined as always by head coach of the Hofstra Pride Wrestling team, Rob Anspach. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Doing all right.
Looking back on this past weekend for your team, first couple meets of the season, first against number 3 Minnesota, you fall there, and then you travel to Wisconsin, the number 25 Badgers. They come back on you and beat you there as well. So what were your overall thoughts on this past weekend?
Well, obviously, it wasn't a very good weekend. Minnesota, we went in there knowing they had a good team, 5 returning All-Americans. So it was a place where I thought we could kind of get a gauge of where we are with one of the top teams in the country. The match didn't start off well with Steve Bonanno getting caught and pinned to start the dual meet off. In a match that I think we probably could have won, we got a little sloppy on a takedown and got thrown to our back and pinned. I think the great thing about the weekend for that match was, Luke Vike did a real nice job knocking off Dardanes, who was ranked a little bit higher than him, and then Matt Spataro coming and winning a match was really nice. Wisconsin was a dual meet. I thought we really should win that match. We were winning going into the last. At halftime, we were winning, and all we needed was two out of the last 5 matches, and we didn't get it. And we had the opportunities at 65, 84, and heavyweight to really win those matches. So to not get any wins from those guys was disappointing, and we definitely came back. Not happy with the performance. Just not. I wasn't happy with the way the team represented themselves.
Looking first at Minnesota, a lot of their strength came in the heavier weight classes. All the wrestlers in the bottom half of their lineup ranked 11 or higher in the nation. So, and a lot of your newer guys are up in that heavier weight classes as well. So talk about the experience you think they got facing one of the top wrestlers in the country.
Well, when we were putting our schedule together, we knew we were going to be a little bit more inexperienced in the upper weights. Losing Gillespie and Clymer, those were 2 guys that we really counted on a lot last year to anchor down those upper weights. And we had some new guys in there, and one of the reasons we scheduled Minnesota was so that they could get an early, match against competition that good. We talk about being at the end of the year and where you have to be at the end of the year, and the season is just about getting better and constantly getting better. So they got some great experience. Those are the types of guys that you want to be competing against. So to go out there and you wrestle them, it just takes you to another level where you can think, hey, I'm working hard and I'm doing this, and then you wrestle a guy like that, and you go, you know what, there's still work to be done. I'm not even close to where I need to be. So that's why you wrestle those guys, and that's why you do it in November as opposed to February, where you don't have time to make adjustments. We have 5 more months to the CAA championships and the NCAA championships, so we have time. So there's no real reason to panic right now. We got beat. We got beat pretty handily, and we need to get better. And I don't think anybody on the staff or the team has any delusions that we're where we need to be at this point in time.
Paul Snyder at heavy was a guy I know you highlighted coming into his final year, someone you're looking to improve on. He hangs in there with the top-ranked heavyweight in the country, and then Sunday struggles a little bit against Wisconsin's heavyweight. What did you see from him this weekend?
Oh, that's the biggest thing we need to correct in a lot of guys, not just Paul, but yeah, it was a match where he wrestled Tony Nelson, defending national champ, and lost the match. But I was proud of the way he competed. He took shots. He was in the match. He was competing hard. And then to follow that up with Sunday's match was very disappointing to me, where I felt he didn't give forth his best effort, because if he did, he would have won that match. That was a very winnable match, and he just didn't perform the way he needed to. And I told Paul after the match, that's just unacceptable, the way you performed. That's a winnable match. The team needed you, and that was the performance you gave. You can't do it. So he needs to be more consistent on effort when he goes out there and wrestles. And I think you got to take a guy like Jermaine. I'm not doubting his effort. I'm doubting what he does. He just makes some similar mistakes over and over and over again, and that's what happened when you look at his matches. Against Storley from Minnesota, he's in a position where if he's clearly beat, and if he bails, he gives up 2 points. He stays and stays and stays. He gets put to his back. Now it's 5-0, and you don't come back against a guy ranked 3rd in the country when you give up 5 points. It doesn't happen. Now he corrected that against Wisconsin, was able to get the win, but we need him to be recognizing that stuff against everybody he wrestles.
Against Wisconsin, you got off to a much better start. You win 4 of those first 7 matches. Jamie Franco in overtime. Steve Bonanno bounces back, gets a victory there, his first of the season. What were the differences between those 2 matches with Franco and Bonanno against Wisconsin?
Well, again, you look at the level of the competition they wrestled was one of the big the big differences. But again, Steve, it was kind of a fluke that he just got caught and pinned there. It was the first period of the match. He was wrestling well. It just is one of those things where you kind of like shake your head and be like, all right, nothing we can really do about it. We just got to move forward. And I'm glad he did. He didn't dwell on it. He came back out the next match and he got a major decision. Did a nice job. And the same thing with Jamie. He had a tough kid. That kid, Dardanes, had beaten him at Nationals the year before. Pinned him actually. So he went out there. He competed hard. And then he went back out. He didn't dwell on it. He's like, okay, I need to improve some things, but he didn't let it get him down. And he came back the next day and was able to find a way to win in overtime.
Overall, the weekend, 6 wrestlers go 1-1 in their 2 individual matches. But for your entire roster, including the guys that went 0-2 this weekend, what do they need to do to improve on heading into this weekend and the rest of the year?
Well, I think we need to go out with a better mindset to start the matches and look to score points. I felt, even in some of the matches we won against Wisconsin, we were tentative. Kind of happens sometimes when you got some younger guys out there. They're trying to figure out whether they belong or not. And as a coaches, we can tell them, but until you get those first couple matches and you get a couple wins under you, you always have that little bit of doubt in there. So they just need to really believe in themselves a little bit more, go out there and wrestle with a little more confidence when they step on the mat, knowing that they should win these matches. You can't be kind of, maybe I should win, maybe I'm not. You're not going to win like that. You got to step on that mat, you got to know you're going to win, and go out there and do the things that are necessary to win. So we'll push them this week. We get ready for the New York State Championships, which is a place where I think we can have some success, especially in the earlier rounds. We'll be wrestling, quite a few good people are there, but there will be some very nice matches to get us rolling and maybe get a couple wins for some of these guys that are struggling with a little bit of confidence right now. And as they pick up some wins, hopefully that just leads into bigger and better things as the tournament progresses.
You bring up that tournament. I know you're sending a lot of your roster. You're going to see a lot of different guys wrestle. So from a coaching staff perspective, how do you use meet or things like this as the championships, as a teaching tool, to get these guys ready for the future?
Well, this is obviously important because it's a tournament and it's the way the national championships are run. Dual meets are their own separate animal kind of. You got a 1-hour weigh-in. It's one guy at a time stepping out there and you're representing the team. And tournaments are completely different. You might have 5 matches, 6 matches, 7 matches in a day. You need to prepare yourself, and you can't really focus on what your buddy's doing and things like that. You really have to get yourself in a mindset that's just selfish and you're all about you, because that's what's going to help the team out the most. Not in a dual meet where you wrestle your match and then you can sit down because you're done for the rest of the day. You can watch your teammates go. You're not able to do that. But the thing that we're going to use this for is seeing where we are from a conditioning standpoint. It is going to be a mental grind. It's going to be a physical grind. You can't wrestle 7 matches in a day and not come out of there nicked up or mentally exhausted. So you look at it. As you get later in the day, you start seeing some people crack and fade a little bit faster because they've wrestled so many matches. So we're going to see where we are from a mental toughness and a physically conditioning standpoint this weekend.
All right, for head coach of the Hofstra Pride Wrestling Team, Rob Anspach, I'm Mike Sullivan. The Hofstra Pride are in the New York Collegiate Championships this Saturday, November 17th. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the W. Mason Coaches Report.